I was put in detention for 3 weeks. I could not see out my eyes or lift my head. I was in agony and just wanted to die, not realising until my 30s, after seeing someone go through drug withdrawals, that's what I had gone through. I had been locked in Parramatta for 5 months. I seen girls come back from Hay, eyes so distant, so thin and so damaged. I didn't care anymore what happened to me and acted it out against that abuse with dire consequences. I talked about a ride. That was my ticket to the Hay Girls Institution. Late one night, 3 males came into my cell in isolation and made me take a large dose of Largactil, handcuffed me and handed me to 2 escorts taken to Campbelltown railway station. We travelled 10 hours by train to Narrandera, then travelled 2 hours in the back of a welfare wagon with nothing to sit on, haste to Hay, and still doped up and still very out of it. Hay Jail was built in 1871 and used as such. In 1919 it was used for the Spanish influenza epidemic, then for the mentally ill. It was taken over in 1940 by the Australian Army and used as a concentration camp for Japanese and Italians for war crimes till 1947. It sat derelict until 1961. Then the New South Wales Department of Child Welfare reopened it for children that had rebelled against the abuse and would not or could not comply with the rules and abuse at Parramatta Girls Institution. What started that riot was a girl was pregnant to the male officer and she was kicked and thrown down the stairs, and the males were bashing the girls. That male bashed the girls with rubber hoses. Some quotes from... Sorry about this. You're doing fine. Some quotes from welfare. In 1961, Minister refuses an open inquiry. Toughest girls tamed in old jail. Hay Girls Institution and Tamworth Boys Institution came under the silent treatment, the silent system or silent treatment, a part of their punishment regime of the convict days. It was a system to break the human spirit quicker. This system was outlawed in the late 1800s. Hay and Tamworth moved their male officers between the 2 institutions. They were both closed institutions to anyone from outside. 2 things we never did or said was, I can't, and never let them see you cry. I never cried once. Writer, journalist Bernie Matthews' quote, online opinion, Hay and Tamworth Institution were the Alcatraz of the juvenile justice system. Hay was an experiment, welfare's words. Was built on a military regime, face and haircut, no talking, no eye contact, 6 foot apart, hard labour. They changed the name cell to cabin and cell block to cabin block. There were only 10 girls there at a time and 14 cells, 1 officer per 2 girls and 2 males on duty always. We had to sleep on our right side and head not covered. 20 minute surveillances were carried out with the iron peephole being slid open, lights on. If you were not sleeping on your right side, you were woken by a bunch of keys hitting the iron door. Made get out of bed, strip and remake it. Stand out at ease at the end of our bed on cold cement till the next surveillance. In 1961-62, the first girls built that derelict place. They scrubbed lead paint off walls and ceilings and all the calcimined back to brick and painted. The old saying, up to your elbows in shit, well they were. They dug out the old septic when it blocked up and laid new pipes, dug out tree stumps, they dug and laid new footpaths, dug them up again and relaid them, never to be idle. They transformed that place, rubbed the wooden floors and redone them, took all the black tar off the iron grilled doors and repainted them. In 1962, a quote from a minister in Parliament, "Hey Girls is a credit to the Department of Child Welfare." Riverina Paper, 1962, reports of pitiful screams from girls' home by Hay residents. My introduction was two males held my hands down while one hacked my hair off, dropped it in my lap, and when I looked up, they said, "Eyes to the ground and welcome to Hay. We will make or break you, your choice." I was still much disorientated. For the next 10 days, I was put in a scrubbing cell, iron door padlocked and another door with iron bars inside that padlocked as well. I had to scrub all the paint off the walls with a brush and a brick and then repaint it for the next unfortunate girl. This barbaric punishment ceased in 1966. I listened to the drill, marching, feet stamping to commands, left and right turn, 2 paces forward march, girls reporting back, reporting to in very loud voices. "Report to you, Mr. Hockley. Report back to you, Mr. Hockley." Drill exercises twice a day, all in hundreds. Chicken squats, palms flat on the ground, push-ups. They would put their foot on your back, so you had to push harder. Star jumps, running on the spot. I was petrified about getting out of this cell to join them. The routine never changed, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never knowing the time or the day. Hot as hell in summer and freezing cold in winter. No fans, no heaters, no water in our cell. No reading material, only a Gideon's Bible. A toilet came with 4 pieces of toilet paper. We had to be in sight while using our can. We showed our soiled sanitary pads before we issued with a new one. This was so humiliating. Body checks every day, stripped, arms out, shoulders high, legs parted, turned front and back. Sometimes the male would walk in while this was being done. Isolation for 24 or 48 hours, bread and water, for attitude, eyes up or loss of points, for breaking down or going off, some not being able to handle the pressure. There were no doors on the toilets or showers, officers always watching. There were 2 toilets, one officer standing at the sink nearly within touching distance, both watching girls. You had to raise your hand touching your shoulder first, then raise your arm straight to ask what you wanted, even if you had to blow your nose. Every time we were spoken to, we had to come to attention and answer, "Yes, Mr." or "Yes, Mrs." Report back to you, Mr. or Mrs. With no eye contact, I learnt from what direction the voice was coming from and who I was reporting back to. Practices, you stood on the footpath and missed your talk twice a day for 10 minutes. You did not miss your fruit. The practice lasted the full 10 minutes. An example, this was getting done sometimes with many girls doing practices together. This was so hard and confusing. After being there for a while, you shut down to those voices. There is just you. Report back to you, Mr. Harris, at ease, attention. Report back to you, Mr. Harris, at the same time. Eyes down, attention. Eyes down, attention. Eyes down. Left turn, while doing left turns. Push-ups, counting to 100. Stop, then start again. Practices have also included marching, break-offs, clothes folding, etc. Anything you had done wrong that day.